In northern Tanzania, in the East African Rift, there is a lake called Natron. From mere air, in the dry season, it is the color of blood. Its surface temperature can reach 60 degrees Celsius. Its pH can reach 10.5, close to that of household ammonia. Almost nothing lives in it. Roughly 3/4 of the world's lesser flamingos lay their eggs here. Lake Natron sits in a tectonic depression at the foot of an active volcano called Ol Doinyo Lengai, Maasai for Mountain of God. Ol Doinyo Lengai is the only volcano on Earth that erupts a particular kind of low-temperature lava called natrocarbonatite. The lava is rich in sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. Rainwater and groundwater leach those compounds out of the surrounding rock and carry them into the lake. The lake has no outflow. Water leaves only by evaporation. Salts and carbonates accumulate over thousands of years. This has produced a body of water that is, by chemistry, roughly the same as a dilute solution of washing soda, sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate dissolved in shallow, hot water. The pH range across the lake is wide. In the deeper, fresher inflows, it sits closer to 9. In the evaporated shallows in the dry season, it can climb above 10. 10.5 is the figure most often cited in field studies. By comparison, household ammonia is around 11, and bleach is around 12. Most multicellular life cannot survive in this water. Fish do not survive. Ordinary aquatic plants do not survive. What thrives is a single kind of cyanobacterium, a salt-loving and alkali-loving microbe called spirulina, which photosynthesizes in vast pink and red mats across the lake's surface and gives it the blood color seen in aerial photographs. 3 other groups of organisms have adapted. Certain alkali-tolerant fish species in the cooler peripheral inflows, particularly alkalapia, small tilapia relatives that can tolerate pH around 9, a few specialized invertebrates, and lesser flamingos, which feed almost exclusively on the spirulina and on small alkaline-tolerant invertebrates. Lake Natron is, in ecological terms, a hostile environment that has produced its own concentrated food web, small in number of species, enormous in number of individuals. Roughly 3/4 of the world's population of lesser flamingos breed at Lake Natron. The actual figure most often cited in flamingo conservation literature is between 2.5 and 3 million breeding individuals. The reason for this concentration is not aesthetic, it is defensive. Lesser flamingos build mound nests in the soft mud of the lake's central evaporation pans, in shallow water that is too saline, too alkaline, and too hot for most predators to wade through. The chicks hatch into a pH and temperature regime that mammalian and reptilian predators avoid. This makes the most chemically extreme part of an extreme lake one of the safest nurseries in eastern Africa. The behavior is concentrated. The flamingos do not breed across multiple lakes in the rift. They breed at this one. Conservationists describe Natron as a single point of failure for the species. If breeding at Natron fails, the population fails. In 2013, the British photographer Brandt published a book called Across the Ravaged Land, which included a series of images of birds and bats that had washed up on Lake Natron's shore, calcified by the lake's chemistry posed by Brandt against the Tanzanian landscape. The images circulated widely. Internet captions read variously that the lake had turned animals to stone or petrified them on contact. The reality is narrower. Animals that die in the lake through misadventure, through striking the surface in flight, through getting stuck in the mud, do undergo a chemical preservation. The high carbonate content of the water deposits onto the carcass. Soft tissues are inhibited from decay. Over time, the body becomes coated in a chalky, mineralized crust that holds its shape. Brandt's photographs are real. The animals were not posed at the moment of death. They were retrieved from the shore after death and arranged for the camera. He has been clear about this. The lake does not turn living animals into statues on contact. It preserves the dead slowly, the same way an alkaline mummification process would. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, a Tanzanian government and an Indian industrial group began evaluating Lake Natron for sodium carbonate extraction, soda ash, which is used in glass manufacturing and detergents. The chemistry that makes the lake hostile is also commercially valuable. Conservation groups, led by BirdLife International, raised the concern that an industrial extraction operation at the lake would change the salinity, change the inflows, change the breeding mud, and, in their assessment, end the lesser flamingo as a viable species across eastern Africa. The economic analyses of the soda ash project found it marginal. The conservation assessments of the harm found it severe. As of the most recent published reviews, the soda ash plant has not been built at Lake Natron. The Tanzanian government has, in different official statements, both maintained the right to develop the resource and committed to not doing so. The status is most accurately described as deferred, not resolved. Lake Natron is roughly 57 kilometers long and about 22 kilometers wide. It is shallow, less than 3 meters deep across most of its surface, less than half a meter deep in the evaporation pans where the flamingos breed. It changes color seasonally as the spirulina mats expand and contract. It is part of a UNESCO-recognized site, the Lake Natron Basin Ramsar Site, designated in 2001 as a wetland of international importance. The Maasai who live around it use the salt for trade and harvest small quantities by hand. They do not bathe in it. Lake Natron is a body of warm, alkaline, salt-saturated water at the foot of a volcano that erupts a kind of lava found nowhere else on Earth. Almost nothing lives in it. The few things that do live in it have built one of the densest specialist ecosystems on the African continent. The dead that wash up on its shore are slowly preserved by the same chemistry that killed almost everything else. The most chemically extreme lake in the rift is also the most important breeding ground in the rift. That is the whole story. The petrified animal photographs are the thing most people have heard. The flamingo concentration is the thing that matters.